All right, guys, so we got to talk about struggling CNN, which apparently could be put up for sale. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, Warner Bros. Discovery just recently purchased CNN, and now there's speculation that they're already ready to sell it because CNN has been an absolute dumpster fire for a long time, okay? Basically, ever since Trump left office, right, CNN's ratings have taken a nosedive. And the reason why is because they can't out-liberal or out-woke MSNBC. Again, that is a full-blown authoritarian network where they have guests that have openly on the network basically called for the President of the United States to be shot.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
Yeah, definitely not a Freudian slip there, okay? We know exactly what that leftist was actually really trying to say. It was a Democrat. We know what she was really trying to say, okay? We know what slipped out of her mouth is actually what she thinks. It's not the first time somebody would have went on MSNBC and said something like that, wished that type of ill will on the former president of the United States because they disagree with him politically. So, yeah, MSNBC is an extremist network. CNN can't out-extreme that extremist network, and they also don't want to be conservative because they're not a conservative network, okay? They have far left liberal activist journalists working for their network, and they really don't want to be neutral, right? They don't want to be neutral. They don't want to be unbiased. They want to be as biased as they want. They want to support Democrats, push their propaganda, and then call it journalism, right? That's what they want to do. However, again, that wasn't working. So they had a new company take over. They decided to be more centrist. They still were left, right? Overwhelmingly left, but they tried to be more centrist. And internally, there was a revolt. Also, ratings continued to dive. And the recent CEO is out, right? He's out. He's done. The Discovery guy, he's out. Okay? And now, again, it seems like CNN can be put up for sale. Now, the price tag for CNN is estimated to be $5 to $6 billion. I'm not sure if I was a media billionaire or media mogul, I would be looking to purchase CNN, okay? Because I think that network and its brand is permanently tarnished, okay? I think there's nothing that you can do for CNN. So, yeah, I mean, CNN could be sold, right? But maybe, who knows? Maybe I you know, if I had the money, I would buy CNN and turn it into the conservative news network, right? Maybe, just maybe at that point, they would have some viewers, right? But, you know, as of right now, CNN is a sinking ship, right? Speaking of sinking ships, we got to talk about Don Lemon, who's back, okay? He got pushed off the sinking ship of CNN because he got fired, okay, for being based, okay? Because Don Lemon apparently is misogynist, right? He's a sexist, and he had a hard time working with his female coworkers, okay? He made all types of comments on a network that are considered misogynist, right? And he couldn't get along with his female coworkers. So, and on top of that, his ratings sucked, right? So basically, this guy was walking on thin ice, and he basically was on the verge of getting fired up until the breaking point, okay? The last straw in his sweet tea lemonade was when Vivek Ramaswamy, the GOP presidential candidate, came on the show to debate to talk about the NRA. And Don Lemon didn't like the fact that Vivek Ramaswamy, as a Indian guy, was speaking on so-called black issues and basically said some somewhat, you know, racist things out loud towards Vivek Ramaswamy, okay? And that got Don Lemon fired. Again, that was the last straw in his sweet tea lemonade. So Don Lemon is back and looking older than ever, right? Without the makeup on CNN, okay, and you can see he's growing a mustache. This guy is aged, okay? He is really aged. I mean, he's put on 20 years in about 2 months. And so, without further ado, let's actually react to Don Lemon in his first public interview after being fired from CNN, because he's learned not a damn thing.
Around the end of the civil rights era.
That made me curious about life, curious about how things ran, what was behind things. and about America. And so that's how I ended up becoming a journalist, just by being curious and asking questions.
We sat down before the ceremony, in Lemon's first one-on-one sit-down interview since he was fired from the anchor chair he's held at CNN for the last 17 years.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. You're such a gentleman.
Rudy's going to kill y'all if you don't get this interview.
Well, Lemon's not talked publicly about his departure since the infamous tweets, a social media post expressing his surprise over how things went down. The news vet has since placed it all into perspective, and the question isn't so much about him being fired, but how he says a fire was ignited in him.
So, Don, you say for those concerned about your departure from CNN, it fundamentally came down to truth and responsibility?
I have a responsibility not only as a journalist, but as an American, to tell the truth and to abide by the promises of the Constitution. Because the Constitution says a more perfect union, not a perfect union. I'm not a perfect person. No one is. But I think the Constitution deserves us in order to fulfill the promise of the Constitution, we have to stand up for what is right. We have to stand up for the truth.
Weeks after Lemon was fired from the network, so was the network's chief executive, Chris Licht. Lemon's dismissal, seen by critics as just one of the then CEO and chairman's many missteps, spiraling the network into decline. Licht's mission? To pull news coverage back to center.
Allowed to enjoy.
Then there were tense moments on air, like this one. Lemon's pushback from GOP presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy.
You are a black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me, but we're not.
I don't believe in platforming liars and bigots and, insurrectionists and election deniers and putting them on the same footing as people who are telling the truth, people who are fighting for what's right, people who are abiding by the Constitution. I think that would be a dereliction of journalistic duties to do those.
Wow. Incredible stuff. Listen to Dummy Don. Again, he's learned absolutely nothing. First and foremost, he feels like he got fired for telling the truth, right? When all he does is lie. Okay, when you go on air and you talk to a GOP presidential candidate by telling him that, hey, he can't speak on black issues because he's not black, and then saying whatever race you are, whatever you are, that's not being fired for telling the truth. That's being fired for being an ass, right? That's just what you were. Also, on top of that, it's funny how this guy's talking about the Constitution, okay, and talking about how, well, I feel like, we need to stand up for the Constitution, right? But yet he basically is telling you he's pro-censorship, right? He's not really for freedom of speech because he doesn't want to platform election deniers, right? And bigots, okay? AKA people that he disagrees with politically, right? But he's totally fine with platforming election deniers that are Democrats, right? Because Democrats are election deniers. Any election that they lose, the first thing they do is say that, well, it was rigged, right? It was stolen, okay? They said that back in 2016. In fact, they've been denying every election they've lost since Bush, okay? Every election they lose, they always say, oh, well, it was such and such and such. They come up with all types of conspiracy theories to try to justify their election denialism. But again, Don Lemon, what he's saying here is that, hey, I don't believe in platforming people that disagree with me politically, right? I only want to platform Democrats, right? And that is the downfall of CNN, is that you're overtly biased. Now, I understand becoming more neutral hasn't necessarily helped the network, but it's because the network is not going far enough, right? You're not moving to the center. You're not moving to the right far enough, okay? You're still trying to be an overtly left-wing platform, and that's the problem. That means that you have to cover more issues, okay, outside of just Trump, right? I don't want to talk about Trump. You need to talk about the border. You need to talk about crime, right? You need to talk about real issues in this country that people are concerned about, right? You need to talk about what's going on in these schools. You're still placating to the far left agenda, but yet they're trying to say, well, moving to the center isn't working, or moving to the right isn't working. No, it's not working because you're still overtly left, right? And you're not going to out-left MSNBC. But again, how delusional is this guy, right, where he still thinks that he was fired for the wrong reasons? It's like, bro, if anything, you weren't performing well. Your show sucked, okay? I mean, even if you didn't do all that stuff, even if you wasn't a sexist or misogynist, or you didn't say that disrespectful stuff to Vivek Ramaswamy, you still should be fired because your ratings suck, right? Nobody was watching your show.
Constitution. I think that would be a dereliction of journalistic duties to do those sorts of things. That is what has gotten me to this point, and that is what is going to carry me forward.
Being true to himself is what Lemon says allows him to sleep at night.
To know that I am doing the right thing, that I am standing up and abiding by the Constitution, which my profession demands that I do, because we are listed in the First Amendment of the Constitution, which is freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press.
Yeah, so freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of press. But yet again, he worked for a network that basically openly advocated to have Fox News banned, okay, to censor speech on Twitter. Okay, he basically told you, I don't want to platform individuals that disagree with me politically. He told you that, but yeah, he's turning around talking about the Constitution, right? The Constitution. Okay, where were you, Don, when you had the government going out of their way to try to censor political opponents, right? Where were you at talking about the Constitution and the First Amendment? Where are you at talking about the Constitution when it comes to the Democrats always trying to take away people's Second Amendment rights, right? Where are you at, okay, when it comes to talk about the Constitution, when it comes to the vaccine mandate from Biden? Where are you at, right? Where are you at when it comes to the unconstitutional lockdowns that were pushed on this country, right? School closures, stuff like that. Where are you at, Don? You on Team Democrat, right? You didn't give a damn about the Constitution. You didn't give a damn because you're playing Team Democrat. So I don't want to hear this talking about, oh, it's the Constitution, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was standing up for Constitution. That's why I was fired. Like, again, you were fired because you're bad at your job, right? You're fired because you weren't getting any ratings. And again, your age is showing, right? Without all that makeup, your age is really showing, Don. We can tell that you're 50, right? You seem to be out of your prime, right? Like Nikki Haley.
As for what lies ahead for Lemon, well, he says he's a man of faith.
I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to let other people's timeline influence me. I know people say, I miss you on television. What is your next move?
Nobody misses
I'm figuring that out.
Nobody misses Don Lemon on television, bro. Nobody misses you on television. Nobody watched you when you was on television, my guy. Again, these people are narcissists. They really believe that they have more clout and more juice than they actually have, right? Don, again, you are irrelevant now, bro. You're irrelevant.
I don't have to be in a rush. I think sometimes people rush to make decisions and they end up making the wrong decisions.
Lemon, who published his memoir, Transparent, in 2011, and This Is the Fire in 2021, says he'll spend the next several months enjoying time with his fiancée, real estate agent Tim Malone, and their dogs, leaning into life.
And I'm not worried at all. People are concerned about me and more worried about me than I am about myself. I'm fine. Someone is looking out for me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is, concerned about you, Don, right? I mean, and I understand why you're sleeping good at night, because you're sleeping next to the white man, right? Every single night you go to sleep next to the white man. That's why you feel so good. I get it. I understand. I just think it's hilarious how all these woke revolutionaries, these people that are fighting against white supremacy, they love the great white pipe. Okay, they absolutely love it.
He may no longer helm the anchor desk at CNN.
You're killing it. I'm just being me and I'm being honest.
But Lemon is still a journalist, maintaining a strong commitment to his liberties and justice for the people, he says. As he sits in Memphis, Tennessee, he reflects on the city's significance and the contributions and sacrifices of Martin Luther King Jr., Ida B. Wells, and yes, Tyree Nichols, in the fight for truth and justice.
Wow, they're really throwing Tyree Nichols in the same boat as MLK, right? Again, that's how deranged these people are, even the local news media, okay? If you want to be a superstar as a black person, if you want to be worshipped into all of eternity, it really only happens if you just so happen to lose your life at the hands of a white police officer, right? If you get killed at the hands of a white police officer, then, that seems to happen. You get praised for it no matter how you lived, okay? Really doesn't seem to be a good incentive that we are pushing in society, but this is where we're at. The dude definitely didn't deserve to lose his life, but I'm not sure if you could throw him in the same boat as MLK. I don't think he's a civil rights hero because of that. Damn sure Don Lemon is not a civil rights hero, even though he believes that he is, right? He actually believes he's standing up for the Constitution when he spent most of the time in his network actually being against it, right? So it's just hilarious to see that this guy has not learned anything at all. I feel like at least Chris Cuomo has learned something, right? Don Lemon has learned nothing. So again, this guy's irrelevant. I think he'll remain irrelevant, okay? And meanwhile, Tucker Carlson, who got fired at the same time Don Lemon did, he has a very successful show on Twitter, right? Because he actually does have clout. He actually does have a real fan base, a real audience. And I think that the difference that you're seeing between somebody like Tucker and somebody like Don Lemon really is fascinating, right? One is basically, you know, who knows? He might become bigger. The other one is, you know, in obscurity now, right? He's irrelevant. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.